I will give Jose's vocal cords a break, though, because now we're going to dive into If. This film was directed by John Krasinski, one of, I think, the most interesting filmmakers coming out right now. I thought A Quiet Place Part 2 was the best movie of that year. When it came out, I think that John Krasinski's directing has just been on point between Quiet Place Part 1 and 2. But now we're kind of watching him go away from Quiet Place and do something else original. And I was so excited for this movie. And this movie, for me, I thought I was going to be the target audience because I was sitting there like, look, I'm a grown man. You know, I need my imagination back sometimes in my life. And come on, John, just show me the imagination as an adult. And I was really looking forward to this. Basically, the premise is that you got Ryan Reynolds and this young gal whose name I forgot, and she meets
Kaylee Fleming.
Kaylee Fleming, thank you. Kaylee Fleming's character meets Ryan Reynolds in the film, and not the real Ryan Reynolds, but the character he's playing. And she basically has to take these imaginary friends with him. They partner up to try to get them back into their homes. There's a little bit more going on in the backstory of Kaylee Fleming's character I don't want to get into because I don't think John wants it spoiled because it wasn't prevalent in the trailers. So other than that, that's really all I'm going to say without spoiling the film. Is that is the setup, that's the premise, is getting these imaginary friends back to, or getting them friends again, basically, and making them whole again. And I was really looking forward to this. Like I said, I think John is one of the most exciting filmmakers ever. This cast is stacked. You got Steve Carell, Emily Blunt. I'll go on and on. I can't name them all. It would take too long.
Aquafina, Bradley Cooper. Yeah, like there's so many.
Stacked. John Krasinski himself.
One of the most stacked castings I've seen for a movie. Honestly, that just shows you like how many people just love working with this guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's just crazy.
And that's the thing about like John Krasinski is like I don't just love him as a director. Like I love the dude. You know what I mean? Like the dude seems amazing, and that's one of the things I just love about him so much. And yeah, so this movie, you know, I was really looking forward to it. And man, I gotta tell you, I did not like it. I thought
I knew that was coming.
I thought this was a miss. Man, I really did, and I hate to say it because it's just, oh man, dude, do I love John Krasinski, and I love the intention behind this movie. And I gotta say, like, this movie doesn't feel like bad as far as like, it's not terrible, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like he was trying to make something, and like he went very ambitious with this one, and just unfortunately it comes off to be very boring and very dull. Like, this feels like a case of you could do all of the things and sometimes it just doesn't land. That's my opinion on it. Man, it sucks because the young gal Kaylee Fleming is amazing. She is like knockout in this movie. Like, I'm not kidding you, a star, 100% gonna be. She's gonna be massive 100%. In the next 3 years. I guarantee this movie still gets her hired for roles. Like, despite
100%,
you know, the poor execution of the film. Like, I think that her acting is gonna get her roles. And somebody else that's in this movie, by the way, is Fiona Shaw. I had no idea, and I was happy to see her because I thought her presence made a lot of sense for the story, like the character that she plays in the movie. And there's something that they try to do with that character that just misses for me completely. I think it just falls flat on its face with Fiona Shaw, and it could have been like this really amazing moment. Now, I will say, I think that there are two great sequences. One of those sequences is like it's the dance number that you see in the trailer. I think that sequence was so well executed. I was like, that's super charming. Like, it really works in the movie, just that sequence there. And another sequence that is, it's more of an emotional sequence. I don't want to get into the spoilers on it. I was like, okay, the execution of that one worked, but then there are other emotional sequences that they try to hit that I just feel like fall flat. And I don't think the jokes are funny. I don't know. Sorry, John. I don't think the jokes are funny. And like, I hate this because, like, again, like, I love John Krasinski. It's really hard to be mean about something that he made because the guy is just so awesome. And I'll go watch the next thing that he makes because, again, I think that this was made with the best of intentions. I don't think that this is a case of like Hollywood put this out knowing it was bad. You know, like, I think that they thought that there's a chance that this would land with people. And I think John probably felt the same. I know he made this movie as a love letter to his children, so I hope that they liked it. It's not for me. I don't know what to tell you. It just, to me, it doesn't land. I think it's messy too, but not messy in the sense of like it's not Madam Web. You know what I mean? It feels like this movie is trying. Like, it really does. Like, it feels like this movie is very much trying to be good. And Madam Web doesn't feel like it's trying to be good to me. It feels like it's something that like everybody gave up behind the scenes. This film is like, it's actually shot very well too. Let me throw that out there. Like, the cinematography is beautiful in this movie. There's a lot of things things that are still like strong on the direction of John Krasinski. Like, I just don't think the story works. That's what it came down to for me. The story just, it's jumbled. It doesn't really work. It just feels kind of, oh man, I don't want to say thrown together, because again, the attention is there and he's hitting all the beats, but just messy in the sense of like, it might be trying to be too ambitious for what it needed to be. In aspects I wanted it to be more ambitious, it wasn't too, because there's a twist in this movie, and I called it 5 minutes into the movie. Like, I knew exactly what it was going to be, because it just went for the most obvious twist ever. I'm not going to say what it is. Oh man, Ryan Reynolds, by the way, could have really, and I'm not saying this is like a bad performance. He services, I think he did exactly what he was asked to do. I just think Krasinski could have asked him to throw a little bit more of that Ryan Reynolds pizzazz and magic onto the performance, and it maybe would have livened it up a bit. And the movie it needs more life. You know what I mean? The movie just needs more life in general, and I feel like it just doesn't. Because again, like I said, that dance sequence number was fantastic. Like, it was shot well, directed well. The whole movie shot well, but this one was like, it just felt like everybody was having fun and it was a blast. And like, this movie just didn't feel, I hate to say it, but like, it didn't feel like anybody was having fun making this, you know? Like, not that they didn't care. There's a difference between caring about something. I think everybody was like given what they were supposed to give, but it just felt like for some reason the fun wasn't there, and I think it just needed to be a little more fun. That's me. And I'm okay with like emotional and dramatic stuff, don't get me wrong, because like I said, one of the other great sequences was a very emotional scene where you just watch two actors have a conversation basically, and then the rest of the movie sadly just doesn't land. I don't know, Jose, maybe you got a different take on this. Where are you going with it?
Sadly, I'm going the same as what you've been going at it with this. Like, you put an L at the front and an E at the end, and you have life in this movie. If you get the joke, you get the joke. Yeah, look, I mean, as star-studded of a casting this movie was, for the most of this movie, it just didn't hit for me. All the jokes that were supposed to be jokes, no one in the theater, like in my theater when I was watching it, was laughing. There was maybe some that I laughed at that they didn't. Some of those scenes being like, which isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailers, when they're like interviewing the ifs. Some of those kind of got me like chuckling a little bit, not like dying out laughing, but you know, got some chuckles out of me. Again, the cinematography does not fail in this movie. That's probably like one of the best things of this movie, is how beautifully shot this movie is. Those emotional scenes that you're talking about, I actually started crying in those as well. Like, they really got me. One got me to tear up a little bit. That's what's so disappointing, is like the potential is there. You know, it's all over this movie. You're right. The potential definitely was there. I feel bad for Krasinski. I know. I mean, it's like, it sucks, but I was expecting a great movie, to be honest. I really was. Honestly, going into this, I was like, oh, you slap someone like John Krasinski as director on this, you know that it's going to be just like so much fun, because Krasinski's just that guy. You know, with, like you said, with his A Quiet Place movies, maybe he just did phenomenal with those, and I was just expecting something, you know, that same amazingness to come in through this movie. So I think kids are gonna like it, obviously, because they're kids. I mean, I wasn't super bored to where I was checking, you know, my phone for the time to see what time it was gonna be over. I wasn't doing that very often, but it still wasn't, you know, I still wasn't like, it just still didn't really, it didn't really do much for me. Like, I wasn't that bored with it. Because there were like, this is what really got me too, is that there were scenes here and there. As soon as I was getting like to the point where I wanted to start checking my phone more often, it kind of got me back in a little bit. So this was almost
I can see what you're saying.
Roller coaster of a movie for me.
The pacing is very uneven. That's what we could say easily. It's just an uneven
the pacing
pace.
Was very unevenly paced movie.
Look, we're gonna go ahead and grade this thing. Let's go ahead and give this movie a grade. I'm sadly gonna have to give it a don't watch. I just don't think that this one landed. I think it missed. I'm gonna give it 2 different grades. I think this is the first time I've ever done this for a movie. For us and like people like our age, I would probably say don't watch. For parents with their kids, I would give it a might watch, because I just feel like I feel like this is a movie more for kids. So for parents and their kids, I would give it a might watch. But if you're just by yourself, or you're thinking about watching this, I honestly wouldn't spend your money on it. I would just wait for like a stream, you know, to come out in streaming and watch it at home. Well, if only we saw a better movie.